right. Happy Thursday night, everybody. Hopefully, it's the best night of your week. Thanks for coming out. Vintage Vikings here, as you know, always. We got me, Mr. Bill, Mr. Tony. We have a great show for you guys tonight. We are going to talk about our unsung Vikings heroes. So, Vikings players that you may have forgotten, but actually made a bigger impact, and we remember them and should give them their kudos and their honor. And we're going to kind of go into that tonight. I'm sure you guys probably will chime in as well. Feel free to in the chat. We'd love to hear who some of your guys' unsung Vikings heroes are that may not get the credit or the big flashy plays that you remember, but we're happy to be here. So, Bill and Tony, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
I can hear you. Can you
All
hear
right,
us
awesome.
okay?
Yep, yeah, it worked out perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's just get started here. So, I'm going to let Tony go first. I think Tony said he's got a couple unsung Vikings heroes. I put together some graphics, and I'm going to let him go one by one. And feel free to chime in. Appreciate you guys. And Tony, here you go, buddy. How would you like to introduce your starting Vikings players who you think deserve more credit or in your memory?
Well, I've got a couple of guys that are on there, but they're kind of like a 1A and 1B. Um, let's start with Gary Larson. I mean, the guy was a member of the Purple People Eaters, but he was kind of like the unsung hero of the Purple People Eaters. He does have a record in Viking history. He's tied for second with most sacks in a game with 4. Gary Larson is. But he was like the kind of like the one of the cornerstones of that Purple People Eaters front 4. And then the other person I put with them is Doug Sutherland, who they both played at the same time. They both split time, and Sutherland took over after Gary Larson retired. But many people, they always remember Page, they always remember Eller, they always remember Marshall. Gary is the guy that they forget, and Doug Sutherland is also the guy that they forget. So I've got them up there as when they were on the field, they were very important, and they could make big plays. So Gary Larson is my number one.
Back in those Purple People Eaters days, Tony, did they run a lot of was it all 4-3 or was it all like 4 down, just regular?
Um, they did. They ran it was 4-3. I did watch highlights to the Jets game in 1970. The Minnesota Vikings actually ran a 3-4 defense with Alan Page playing nose tackle. I think the extra linebacker was Dale Hackbart. But the only other line combination that they used was maybe a 5-man line. And that was usually all 4 of the guys with, of course, Allen on the nose, but the extra defensive lineman was usually bench warmer Bob Lurtzema. So they were good at the 5-man line, which created a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. That was a Jack Patera and Neil Armstrong thing. But yeah, they got most of their pressure from the front 4, and the Vikings didn't blitz a lot. They did not blitz a lot. Every now and then they would blitz in certain situations, but they didn't blitz a lot. They didn't shoot the gaps, nothing like that. It was the front 4 that applied most of the pressure.
And Bill, what do you have anything that you remember vaguely or infinitely about Gary Larson?
Well, I remember vaguely of him. I remember more of obviously Doug. Doug was a
Uh,
good player. They're both. I mean, listen, they're both. Gary is the TB's right. Nobody remembers him, and they forget about him. And the same with Doug. He's exactly right. Gary. I always thought Gary. I mean, he was a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
Big guy compared to him and Eller. Page and Marshall were on the light side.
Yeah,
You know,
especially Jim was only like 237, 240 at his highest. And
and then
Allen was 268, but then he went down to 245 and then all the way down to 221.
245 forever.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
a lot of
Gary,
people don't really believe that, the heart of that defense really is that upfront push in that middle of the field. And if he was doing that, I mean, yeah, I would do anything to have like a upfront push getting no blitzes. I feel like that's super important. I think the Vikings have kind of lacked that since, if I'm being honest, since the days of like Jared Allen and like the Williams wall.
We haven't had a the Vikings haven't had a really dominant front seven in years.
Nope.
Um, and as good as that purple people eater, as good as that front four was, those linebackers that played behind him were just as good. Um, but like you said, Dan, we haven't had that type of a defense that had that upfront push in years, probably since the Williams wall, if we're being honest. Um, now the defense is predicated on speed. This defense, especially, that's what Flores does. But you had to be one tough SOB to play on the D line back in those days, and those guys
Yep.
were. It
Yeah,
was a
because I think the also to be on the D line back then. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, but the there weren't as there's more cheap plays on the line. They could chop block and stuff, and I
Yep.
don't really know that much about that. But I imagine Tony from a
And
defensive
slap.
tackle that probably the worst type of block, right? A chop block for a D
Well,
tackle.
yeah, and even still to this day, they changed that rule, which they didn't change the rule to maybe 5, 6 years ago, that you couldn't engage and block a lineman as he's
No.
engaged and can't go for his knees. If you could in the box, which is where a lot of players, and take it from one who knows, you took a lot of shots to the knees. Um, but back then, I mean, it was warfare at that line of scrimmage. It really was, and they played in an era where you had to be tough. You couldn't be soft. You could not be soft.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, any other stuff we want to give homage to Mr. Larson, or do you want to keep go to your next one, Tony?
Uh just one of the forgotten guys. He's a legend. He should be in the Ring of Honor also. I don't know why he's not in there. But he is forgotten.
Good
Um,
luck.
yeah, I know.
That's not
He's
happening.
he's forgotten, and so is Doug Sutherland. And
Yep.
we lost Doug here. How many years ago was it? 3, 4 years ago.
Yeah. Time goes by
So
fast.
we
This is a
still
really
have.
silly question, though. How do you get into the Ring of Honor? Is it only Vikings administration that can make that decision?
Oh, I
I think.
know how. It's
Yeah,
called
Bill. How do you?
politics and favoritism. And
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah, that's all it is.
yeah,
I've
that's all
talked
it
to
is.
people about this. It's 100% politics and favoritism.
but who does? If it is politics,
The
is it just the
Wilfs,
Vik? It's the
The
Wilfs. Oh, it
Wilfs,
is.
the
It's
Wilfs.
complete ownership. Okay, I didn't know that.
yeah,
Yeah,
they'll have the last call. I mean, they'll probably get input from people. But if you've noticed and listen, and this is a show I think we need to do. I have nothing. I love Randy Moss. Okay. But you put him in the Ring of Honor before you put in even guys like Gary Larson at that time, Bobby Bryant, Wally Hilgenberg. I could go on and on. That's the whole point. You're putting in guys, Ed White, I'll be talking about later. The older guys, the ones that brought this franchise to where it is today, you forget about them. Unreal.
yeah, and I
That's
think
my
this year,
rant.
I think this year isn't it AP?
Yeah, don't get me started with that clown.
Yeah, they're putting in AP this year, so
I had
I
a good
could be
conversation
wrong.
about him today.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think AP is going in this year.
That's his Buffalo game.
You
Well,
know.
thank you, Gary. We appreciate you. Never forgotten, sir. Appreciate it. Who do you got next, Tony?
Oh, number two. A lot of people forget how good this guy was in the '80s, and he
Oh,
was
yes.
quite the compliment to Anthony Carter, who was our big
Mhm.
play receiver, and Steve Jordan, who was our arguably the best tight end in team history.
The best.
Hassan Jones. People forget about Hassan. He was dependable, uh, kind of a skinny guy,
84, number 84.
number 84. But I'll tell you what, and those receivers went through three quarterbacks at one time: Tommy Kramer, Wade Wilson, and Rich Gannon, and at times Sean Salisbury. But Hassan Jones was very dependable. He had sneaky speed too, sneaky fast. He usually got the single coverage and he usually made defenses pay because he usually, especially on streak patterns, just made he had that speed where he could get away from defenders.
So he
So
was a burner.
He was he
I
was
wouldn't
a
call him.
burner, but he had deceptive speed.
Yeah.
He didn't look fast, but he could get separation.
Ah,
He could get separation
Good
really
player.
quick. Anthony Carter
a
was
good
the
one-two
was
punch.
yeah, Anthony Carter was the man, but
Yep.
Hassan Jones was he was basically he was the number two, but he could have also been a number one with another team. That's how good
Yep.
he was. So number
Hmm.
three is this guy is not in the Ring of Honor, and he's an original Viking.
Yep.
Played in every single game. Played on the line. Um, also did later on did color commentary for the Vikings on Viking Radio,
He's very
uh,
good too.
and was very good. Grady Alderman. Um, Grady's no longer with us, also, but he was on that offensive line for years, only to age caught up with him. That's the only reason he didn't start in '74. Asian injuries
Left
caught up with
tackle
him.
or right tackle?
He was left tackle. He was left
Hmm.
tackle for from 61 to part of 74.
Yep.
He was a team starting left tackle. He was a
That's a
team
long
captain.
time. That's a long time
He
to be
was the
on the
team.
line.
Him and Jim Marshall were the team captains for years. Um,
I always like it when they have a defensive lineman on the captains. I think that's
well, that's what
nice.
the
Or
Vikings always did.
offensive lineman.
They had an offensive lineman as a captain. Bud Grant always did. He had an offensive lineman, which was Alderman. Then it became Tingelhoff, and then it was Jim Marshall for all his time here.
Yep.
And we had Jim Lindsay was special teams, then Bill Brown, and then we didn't get another special teams captain until Keith Nord became special teams captain in '83. And unfortunately,
Can you
Keith
have as
got
many captains as you want on a team, or is there a limit?
yeah. You can have as many as you want. You can tell because most teams there were teams back in the day that had like parade out there 7 or 8 captains.
Oh, interesting.
You know,
Huh.
the Vikings to this day have about 7.
Yeah.
No, fair, fair.
Vikings have about 7. So I mean,
You said
um,
14 years? That's a long time to play left tackle. Was he relatively pretty healthy? Not a lot of injuries?
yeah, he stayed healthy. I think age
Good
caught up with him.
Elton. Yep.
Age caught up with him. He was the first one. The line had been really maligned because they couldn't run block, and the local press was ripping them really bad at training camp in '73. Well, the Vikings drafted Chuck Foreman that year,
That
and
changed.
Grady went up to I think one of the reporters and said, "Hey, you know those crappy blocks you say that we can't do those blocks are going to look pretty good with this guy," and he was right.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Hmm.
So
Uh, Bill, you want to add anything about Grady?
Can I add one thing about Hassan?
Yeah, of course, of course.
His most famous play, as far as I'm concerned, as a Viking, or one of them, but the one that to me just shows what I think a great player in a sense he was. It was the Big Ben play at the end of the first half on January 3rd of '88 when they beat the Saints 44-10 in the wild card game where the Vikings were heavy underdogs, and it was the end of the half. And correct me if I'm wrong, TB. It should have been the end of the half, but New Orleans took a defensive penalty, which gave the Vikings that free down. Kramer went out. Wilson comes in, chucks it up into the end zone. Hassan comes up with it. Game over. I think that made the score 31-10. I could be wrong on that
it was, yeah, 30.
because there's 144-10. I think that made it 31-10, but I could be wrong on that specific, those specifics. But I get, the play was called Big Ben at the end of the half.
Yeah, it
Is
was
this
called. It
Mr.
was
Hassan?
that's Hassan. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was 31-10,
yeah, I was right.
and
Man, look at those jerseys and just the.
aren't
Yeah.
those
Man,
clean?
I could dig those jerseys so clean, man. So
Those
No,
clean.
clean.
no, no. They're horrible.
Those,
The ones today are the best, right, TB?
No,
don't
these
get
are
me started,
clean.
Bill.
These are clean. I
Don't
like
get me
these.
No,
started.
they're the best. Those I'm joking. Those jerseys are the best, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, those are the ones that we should be wearing. Why they
Yep.
He's
changed them, I
cooking.
don't
He's
know.
cooking. It looks like we're against the Bills here.
That was an
Yeah,
88
a season
He's
opener in
cooking
season
here.
'88.
opener. Yep. They lost that game.
Nice.
Yep, 13-10.
Yep.
Now this next one, Tony, kind of caught me off guard. I'm actually shocked you put him on here. I remember him, But I want you to go into a little bit why he's so unsung to you.
Local guy.
Nope.
Local, yeah,
Didn't, yeah, he's from Rochester. He's a Minnesota kid.
Nope.
So that's local to me. Minnesota, you're local.
yeah.
The thing was with him and punt returns, there was always a threat of him breaking it, and all he needed was a little crack.
Yeah.
And we haven't had that since.
Correct.
And he was a valuable weapon when he was on the field. He was valuable as hell. Um, we haven't had a real special teams return dynamo in the team's history. Very few. We've had Marcus Sherrills, Cordero at times. Um, who am I forgetting?
What do you
David
call that?
Palmer.
Like a special team
David
specialist,
Palmer.
like Devin Hester. They just don't make that
We haven't.
position's kind of.
Yeah, we've never had those.
Manfred Moore.
Manfred Moore. Manfred, though, he just could not. He would come close to breaking, and then all of a sudden he would just lose gas.
Now he was. Did he ever run the ball? Because I don't remember him running the ball, but he
He's a
must have been
defense.
like
He
a.
was a defensive back.
Yeah.
He
So
was
he was
he
a
was a
D
cornerback.
back.
As a matter of
Yeah.
fact,
I
yeah.
feel like he ran the ball at some point, maybe in some weird gadget plays or something. Like they tried to use him.
He's small.
Well, I mean, he ran the ball if it's a punt return or a kick return, so he is running the
Yeah.
ball. But
Mm.
he never like in a running play, offensive
I
or
don't just
defensive.
remember.
No, he was always a punt returner, but he was a valuable punt returner.
He
You know
was
what I remember about him is I remember he never fumbled. He was really good at catching the ball in traffic. I mean, I remember solid. You know what I mean? And never have to worry about muff punts,
oh,
muff kicks. You know what I mean? It was like nice to just not have to. I mean, gosh, do you remember who did we put back there? We put Jalen Naylor back there to catch a punt, and I
ooh,
thought I was gonna have a heart attack.
Oh my god! And that
ooh,
was the only thing that Jalen Naylor could do, and he couldn't even do that.
ooh.
Yeah,
He couldn't even do that, and he was. I mean, he was brought up here to return kicks basically and be the number 3 or 4 receiver, and he failed at all of them.
Yep.
He failed at all of them. So that was
I remember
once again
he
that's
put
the
his hand
turnoff.
up. He put his hand up, and the ball was 10 feet over his head.
Yeah, it just and we
I
signed
may,
and
I
we
maybe, I'm, maybe it's a harder job than I give him credit for. It probably is a very difficult job, Tony, to be as good as you are as like Marcus Sherrills at that
it is, but
position.
it isn't. I mean, you can put some of the dumbest people back there, and even they can field the ball.
Speaking of which, I heard a little birdie told me that they might be using Damon Claiborne as a punt returner, kickoff
I'm
returner.
not surprised.
Mistake.
I'm not surprised. They have nothing
If
else to do with
anybody
them.
cares, that's interesting.
Why don't you just put Ty Felton back there and call it a day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Alderman, was this Mr. Alderman? I'm making sure. Is this Mr. Alderman?
Yep.
That's Grady. Yes, that is Grady.
Dude, could they get a helmet to fit that guy's head? I mean, they must. That guy must got a big head.
That face mask is the face mask is what makes it big. The face mask
That's a
is
73 championship game in
yeah,
Dallas.
Ooh,
yeah, that face
cooking.
mask. I mean, he wasn't big either. He wasn't even 6'3". He was like 6'1".
Yeah, small guy.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
Looks like he
6'1".
looks like a pit bull. Like he's just tank.
Yeah, he was about 6'1", 245 playing tackle.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
All right, take us home. Who's your final and fifth?
so this one is also an A and a B. These guys never got the credit, and they played together for years. Matter of fact, the whole core never got a lot of credit. That's Wally Hilgenberg and Roy Winston. Um, we always talked about how good that front four was, but when those linebackers we had, Hilgenberg, Winston, and then at the time it was Lonnie Warwick and Jeff Seaman, even Carl Gersbach there for a time at middle linebacker. Those linebackers could play, especially Winston, especially Wally. I mean, they're in NFL films. There they are. Roy Winston put a hit on Jim Kick in the 72 game against the Dolphins. He laid out Jim Kick at Met Stadium, and then he also laid out Larry Zonka.
Yep.
One of the hardest hits in NFL history, as they say. and Wally Hilgenberg was good at. He was they called him clothesline Wally for a reason.
Yeah.
Um, he was steady. You couldn't really fool him. The age catches up with the guys, and that's what happens. That's Lonnie Warwick in the middle, by the way, for people that don't know. So luckily they got replaced by Matt Blair and Fred McNeil, and in the middle it was Seaman, then it was Scott Studwell. So we've always had great linebackers, but Wally Hilgenberg, he had a key sack in the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
It was third down. It was near third down. He got the sack on Pat Hayden, and then on the next drive, he had a key stop of a swing pass, and I forget who it was, but he literally clotheslined him. It was a clothesline. He would have got flagged for it, but yeah, he was steady and dependable, and they were a big. Those guys were a big reason for that defense being as good as it was.
He also should be in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah. By the way, Winston and
Yes.
Hilgenberg are not in the Ring of Honor. Roy played 15 years with the Vikings. Wally played, what was it, 13, 14?
Yeah.
With the Vikings. So, I mean, once they were gone, they were just kind of forgot. And, we've lost all three of those guys now, too. Yeah. And there were other guys I was thinking about putting on there. Bill.
Yeah, any honorable mentions that you think? Who
Doug Martin. Guys? Yeah, there's Jeff Seaman. Jeff Seaman was actually an All-Pro. He played a Pro Bowl for years.
Yep.
For me, unsung heroes, I'm gonna say, well, I had Doug Martin up there. I had Hank Thomas.
Oh.
I had Tim Irwin, but Bill's gonna talk about him. Kirk Loudermilk.
Dennis yes. Yes.
Guys like that. I had he was so, but I liked him a lot, was Tommy Hannon.
I like Tom. Yeah. I like Tom.
I like Tommy Hannon. I like John Turner.
Well,
there's just over the years, there's just been so many. I was going to put Chad Greenway on that list.
Oh, don't worry, I got you
covered. How about Dennis Johnson?
Bill, really? Do you have to keep bringing up his name?
Well, it's got a former Celtic, great, but I'm talking the Viking Dennis Johnson.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
I know. I like him. You don't like him.
I do not like him at all. I thought he just stepped into the job because they originally traded Jeff Seaman to the Chargers, and then the Chargers cut him as their final cut, and the Vikings re-signed Jeff Seaman. But Dennis already had the starting gig, so
yeah.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Tony's Unsung Vikings Heroes.
That's a solid list.
That's a solid list, Tony. I would agree.
It could go on. I
mean, you could go 50 deep, probably easy.
Yeah, you could. It would have been easy. It's easy to do.
Well, Bill, you ready to rock and roll and show the audience
here
your Unsung?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, everybody, if you're ready, here's Mr. Bill's Unsung Vikings Heroes, and we're going to go through these. So, Bill,
nice shot.
How do you want to describe Mr. Tim Irwin? Oh, yeah. You like my graphic there? I think that looks just like you. That looks just like you.
Tim Irwin, third-round pick in 81. They didn't have a first-round pick that year. Their first two picks, Marty McDowell, Robin Sunline, and Tim Irwin were the first three. And out of Tennessee, about 6'7", 300. And when Ray Yeri left after 81, then Tim put in and started at right tackle from 82 to the end of 93, and I believe 181 consecutive games there.
Yeah, he never missed a game. He never missed a game.
He's just, and I think TB will agree with this. When you talk Tim Irwin, and I believe he's on the 50 greatest Vikings, correct?
Yes, he is.
Yes. Dependable, right? He's not all pro, but he's dependable, right?
Yeah, he's not all pro. He's
Yeah,
not flashy, but he's for an offensive lineman. You didn't hear his name too much for holding and stuff like that.
you
He
know,
didn't
they
jump
didn't
off
have
sides.
guys that were like Matuzak was 6'8". They had Buck Buchanan in the late '67, but guys like 6'7", that was not very common, and so the man was like a mountain man. I just thought he was damn solid. I always thought in
People
'87 and '88, maybe '86 were his best years.
people forget Tim Irwin's the one that got in a fight with Lyle Alzado on the field when Alzado yanked his
Yes,
helmet off his
yes,
head.
yes, in '84, right?
In '84, yeah, he got in a
Yes,
fight with
yeah.
Lyle Alzado,
Who was on
and
roids?
yeah, big time. And Tim stood his ground.
No, Tim's solid. I mean, people don't remember him, and you know what? I'm going to say this: he should be in the Ring of Honor too. Why not? Who would you be? Take away Ranieri. Who would be at the next right tackle? I mean, I know Corey Stringer, but he only played those. Obviously, you still put him in there, but I would put Tim Irwin number two. Am I wrong?
Tim was with the team for 14 years. I don't see why
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So Tim's got to
This
be.
is a silly question, but is there anything you get for being in the Ring of Honor? I mean, at the stadium or
No,
in
you get the
in the playbooks?
You get the gold jacket,
yeah, you get
the,
the
You get the
jacket,
the
gold
purple
jacket.
jacket.
Okay.
purple jacket, and you get the your name up there and the hoopla. And,
In the words of Happy Gilmore, gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a shit?
yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
get
not
a
many people know about Tim Irwin, and it's funny that draft. I was so pissed that year because they traded out of the first round, and I always thought that was a money move. Maybe I'm wrong, but it
it
seemed
was you know
so.
what it was that 81 was a bad draft. There really wasn't
Oh boy,
outside of
Marty
outside of
Mc,
Lawrence Taylor and George Rogers. There really wasn't anybody
Marty
Orlando
McDowell.
Thomas, underrated
Yeah.
or overrated?
Yes, underrated.
underrated when he was healthy.
Yep, I liked OT.
Wasn't he
Yeah,
the squad with like Corey Fuller, Orlando
Love Corey
Thomas,
Fuller, another one.
Corey
yeah, it was Fuller,
Fuller,
Griffin,
yeah,
uh,
Griffin,
You mean
98 was
Hands of Stone? Are you talking Rudy Gobert of the
yeah,
NFL?
yeah,
Robert Griffith?
yeah.
yeah.
You thought he was better than what he really was?
Hmm.
Yeah, not a fan too much.
All right,
But no,
Mister, what do you got?
Tim's good. Fred McNeil. In order, my favorite linebackers, top three would be Matt Blair's number one, Jeff Seaman two, and Fred McNeil three easily. First round pick out of '74 out of UCLA. Started was a starter in '77. That's when he started. And he blocked his most famous play will always be Ray Guy in the Super Bowl, which I believe was Ray Guy's first block in his career, correct?
Only block,
That's what yes.
only block.
So and he was I mean again, I always liked him. I thought he was again dependable. Matt Blair, and they were best buddies, right? Matt Blair and Freddie McNeil were best buddies off the field, from what I've
Yeah,
heard.
they were the closest guys.
And God rest his soul, because Freddie's not no longer with us. That was a gut punch when he passed away, because number 54 was one of my favorites, and he was steady, 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 and I just think a good. He's like Tim Irwin of the He's a solid player, not Pro Bowl level, but solid. Did his job. He took, him and Matt and Seaman took over for the older regime, and I didn't think they missed a beat. I actually thought they were more athletic, which at that time I was happy about. They got a little more athletic.
Yeah, the with the where the Vikings screwed up after the main guys were gone, the Vikings drafted the front four, but it wasn't a very good front four. And,
No,
you kind of wondered they would have their moments where they're like, okay, maybe they'll be okay, but then you kind of watch them the next week and they're like, yep, these guys will never be.
Randy Holloway.
Well, Randy had a nose problem, and we know what that
Yeah,
was.
first round
Doug
bust.
Martin, Doug Martin couldn't stay healthy as much as I
That's too
liked him.
bad. It's too
He couldn't
bad. I
stay
like
healthy.
Doug.
He held out, and
We've
then
only had a few bad linebackers in our history. One of the most dependable positions for us ever is the linebacker position.
Yeah,
that in the lines, the front
Would you
seven,
consider
we've
would you
always been
consider
pretty
would you
solid.
consider Ben Lieber an above average linebacker?
I don't consider Lieber a Viking.
yeah. He's not a Viking in my book.
He's not a Viking.
Ooh.
No, he's not a Viking. To
Charger.
me, he's a Charger.
It's a Charger.
Mm.
I don't consider Mike Merriweather a Viking. I consider him a
Nope,
Steeler.
he's a Steeler. He's a Steeler.
Yep.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
And we didn't even mention, Carlos Jenkins.
Nope.
But I like Jack Del Rio, but I
And you
consider
can't.
him more of a cowboy than I do a
I
Viking.
I tell you, a guy that I think would have been really good, but he blew his knee out in '88 was Jesse Solomon out of FSU, and I always liked David Howard.
My
Oh
sister
yeah.
dated David Howard.
She liked him too.
Yeah, I
All
couldn't
right. So
understand.
next one, Anthony Carter,
AC, yeah. Well,
AC,
this
probably one of the
guy.
best Vikings receivers in history.
Well, I'm going to get ripped for this. Well, at least my opinion, he's my favorite Carter because I think the guy was just. I think he was a gazelle at the time, smaller, but he was a
Better
draft
than
pick.
Chris. Better than
Well, he's
Chris.
not better than Chris, but he's my favorite Carter AC. I'm not a big Chris Carter guy personally. I love his athletic ability, but his attitude, not so much. He's not a leader.
Anthony was faster than Chris.
Yeah, Anthony was faster than Chris. Anthony was like a little gazelle. Anthony was drafted by the Dolphins in the 12th round, and I believe in '83, and then went to the USFL, and it's coming up on the anniversary. August 16th of '85, the Vikings traded Robin Senline and a second rounder, I believe, in '86 for Anthony Carter, which,
Yep.
the Vikings made a lot of bad trades, and they get mostly Herschel Walker. That's another episode. But
You could have a whole episode on the Herschel Walker trade.
probably, yes.
Yeah,
Oh my
Uh,
probably.
gosh, it's that bad.
and, yeah, it's that bad. And so when they trade for, look at that trade like for Anthony Carter. I mean, in '85 played well, '86 played well, then '87, and obviously his coming out really was that New Orleans playoff game, punt return touchdown, was off the charts. And then January 9th of '88, 10 catches, 227 yards. They upset the 49ers 36-24. And he was on the cover of SI. And I think everybody thought that he himself, Anthony Carter, was going to lead them to the Super Bowl because he had two great games in a row back to back. And he stayed here, and then he ended his career in Detroit. But and is he an unsung? Maybe not. But I just don't think he's talked enough about. It's in a sense like he's better than Hassan, but Hassan was so dependable. These guys aren't being talked enough. You can make a case for Sammy White being an unsung hero because he was
Mm,
always behind Rashad.
right.
Tony would agree with that. I mean,
Yeah.
Sammy was.
I always like Sammy White better
I
than
love Sammy White.
Sammy
Well,
was the one that could get the tough yards,
yeah.
could get the single coverage, and he would run the routes that the dirty routes, basically where you knew you were going to get hit.
You know what's so sad is if they would have had, and I love John Gilliam because he was my first Viking receiver I ever loved. But if you take White and Rashad and put them on the 75 team, they don't lose to Dallas either.
No, the offense is more open.
Sammy White had
World.
speed. Back then, Sammy White he was considered fast.
Yeah, Gilliam was faster than Sammy White though.
But then we got Rashad's dependability. Yeah, Eddie McDaniel's another one. That was a great underrated, unsung Viking linebacker is Eddie Mack. Smaller guy, but played like a madman as far as I'm concerned. Good player.
All right, number 4 on your
Oh, let me
list,
say
Bill.
one more thing. Anthony Carter was on the USFL team. Michigan Panthers won the championship in '83. And who did he catch passes from? Bobby Hebert.
Yeah, Bobby Aver was his quarterback.
Yep. And
Yep.
the final two are my favorites, and I got a special heart for both of them. And Ed mostly, Ed White, and Tony knows this because we just talked about this. They called it. It's funny in TB. I mean, it's a nose guard. Even second, they call him a middle guard too. I mean, I've never honestly. I mean, I've heard nose guard obviously, but middle guard, is that a thing?
I heard middle guard before I heard nose guard. Middle guard
Okay.
basically was in colleges they played a 5-2. Your middle guard was a guy
Okay.
that was basically on the nose of the center.
Yep.
Most of the time your middle guards ended up playing middle linebacker, aka Jack Lambert. He was a middle guard at Kent State. They made him a middle linebacker. Jeff Seaman, middle guard.
Okay.
Guys
Stanford.
like that. But middle guard, was what I was always. I originally knew them as middle guards, and then later on they called them nose guards, and then they became nose tackles, and I think that was the Patriots that
Okay.
started with the whole NT thing. I'm like, what the hell does this mean? And it was,
No, it's not.
yeah.
Ed White was drafted in '69, believe, second round out of Cal Berkeley, and right. Let's see. Was he? He was a left guard up until '75. '74, he was second team All Pro. Then '75, '76. Was he a four-time Pro Bowler? Because he also was a Pro Bowler in '79 with the Chargers. He's either a
With the
three or
Vikings,
four-time Pro Bowler.
He was a 3-time Pro Bowler.
Three bowler, and then in the '79, then with the Chargers, so four-time. He's on the Chargers, all their anniversary teams. He's on the Vikings anniversary teams, but we don't have him in the Ring of Honor. And I know TB and I will disagree on this, and that's fine. Randall McDaniel is a Hall of Famer. Great. I still, to my dying day, I'm sorry, I will say Ed White played both guard positions at a high level. One of them is he was second team All Pro. So he goes from in '75, he goes over to the right side with Ranieri, and that's where they ran behind with Chuck. Eddie Randall McDaniel stuck on the left. I just think Ed White. Ed White. I mean, ask Chuck Foreman about Ed White. He'll tell you his days were done when Ed White, because of Mike Lynn, was traded for Ricky Young, and the Vikings' running game was never the same. Period.
No, but
Chuck Foreman.
here was the thing with that though. The year before, and this is probably what did Ed in. Ed held out.
Yes, he
He
did.
came,
Yeah, not
he
good.
came to camp, and then he walked out of camp. He wanted a new contract and said he retired.
He told me a
So
story about going to a restaurant, and that's how he found out. I believe that's how he found out he was traded.
that's
Yeah, it's
probably
weird.
how it is because Mike Glenn was not good at. He wasn't good at
Oh, he was terrible.
off season. It was off season. So they probably weren't going to announce the trade until they probably weren't going to tell him until the next day. But they were notorious for that, and they were just they were starting moving players. Well, then here's the deal: Ed signs a contract, but here's the screwed up part. After Ed signs a contract in '77, Ed still makes the Pro Bowl, by the way, and the Vikings are still dicking him around in the lineup because he's splitting time with Wes Hamilton. He's not even on the field when Sammy White catches that game-winning pass against the Niners.
He wasn't even on the field.
He's not even on the field.
Dennis Swilly
Dennis
was.
Swilly is playing guard. And I'm just, it was kind of like when it got to the playoff pushes when they left him in there, but I never could understand. They just had this whole thing for Wes Hamilton. I'm not taking nothing away from Wes Hamilton, but he wasn't Ed White.
No, he's not close.
So
Can't underestimate a good guard. I mean, that might be the center and the two guards might be the most important positions if you're really trying to
I think
get a
Bud.
number one run game.
I think Bud is with Joe Cap, and I think the same for Ed, because Ed White was like Alan Page in a way. Him and the Vikings lost connection. It took a long time for Ed White to come back. Took a long time. I
Yeah, it took
believe
a
it.
long time. Long time.
2016, I met Ed White, and I believe that was the first time because he had his art stuff and he wanted to put it in the new stadium, and it wasn't going to be allowed. But at least he was coming back while the Chargers were playing the Vikes, so he had both of his former teams playing. Ed told me this. Ed wanted to finish his career here, but he said, Billy, going to San Diego extended my career 5 years because of the grass.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
that
a
was
great
about
guy
it.
too, by the way. I mean, he is. You wouldn't think. I mean, he won the 1975 arm wrestling championship by beating Julius Adams of the Patriots. So, and I remember that, and I still have somewhere. I have Ed White's autograph from '75 somewhere around.
Hmm.
He was always my favorite. I just think he's on something. Not many people. The old timers know of Ed White. Younger, no. It's Randall McDaniel or Hutchinson.
And Hutchinson to me is a Seahawk.
He's a Seahawk.
He's a Seahawk.
He was a damn good guard though, bro.
Oh, he's a damn good guy.
Damn.
He was
He's
a damn
not.
good guard, but he
I-
wasn't.
I- yeah.
when I think of Steve Hutchinson, he's a Seahawk.
I
I
mean,
use
the way you guys talk about this run game, man, it makes my mouth just water. It
it.
makes my mouth water because we don't have it. I mean, don't
No,
get
we
me
don't.
wrong.
Well, you
I
know you know
you
who to
have to
blame for
admit
that.
though, the AP running, they did have a beefy line, and they did AP did
Oh yeah,
run a lot.
The problem
Maybe
the
not
problem
as
with
good as Chuck Foreman, but
the problem with AP was AP came in an era that was a passing era. The NFL had already changed to a
yeah,
passing league full time. So when AP comes in, he's already. I mean, AP's helping his team win by you know by running the ball, but our quarterback play was so bad. Only time he had a good year was with Brett, and he fumbled the ball 14 times that year.
that is crazy. I mean, if you think back though, if we don't have AP, how many losing seasons do we have with that quarterback play? Oof.
You know what? Childress's offense was not that good till Brett Favre took over.
it was a kick-ass offense.
Yeah, it's more like get
Mm.
kicked in the ass offense.
Kicked in the ass.
Um,
That's the secret
it
sauce.
just he just was. I mean, he's another one that had an ego about him that I can do this, I can do that, blah blah. And I was like, dude, you suck. Okay, that's why you didn't call plays where you were before. A lot like a certain coach we have currently. So,
Well,
but I mean, yeah, I mean, oh, and okay, so I got to answer Bob Swede here. He says Yeri got caught for holding twice a game. Okay, Bob, take it from one who's played football. There's holding on every goddamn play.
yeah,
They
It's
decide when
whether
they want
it's
to
whether or
throw the
not they
ball.
can hide it or get away with it. I guess.
Yeah, there's
Is how
holding
they
on
do it.
every damn play. It's like, it's like you watch any touchdown and you watch that line play, there is holding. It has to be blatant, but there is some sort of holding on that play.
yep,
If they're, and tell you what, if they're not holding, that pisses off the quarterback because the quarterback doesn't care if you're holding. He doesn't care.
yeah,
He does not care. You're keeping him upright.
that's right.
So, you know, I mean, everybody like, oh, you always get called for holding. Well, guess what? There's holding on every play. If you really want to get on somebody about it, get on the officials when they call it. So
Yeah,
holding has always been 10 yards, Bob. It's never been 15. Clipping
Interesting.
was a clipping was a common one that you don't hear anymore
you don't hear it anymore. Nope.
because
Back in the day, yeah.
they used to have those blocks in the back all the
Yep,
time. Well, they used to go for the knees.
yep.
They would go for the lower half of the knees and would take out players. Matter of fact, if you watch a highlight from the Super Bowl 4, Carl Eller takes a nasty shot on that end around from Frank Pitcher,
Yes,
5 yards.
yes,
He takes a really bad. That should have been a flag. That would have been a
one
flag
hundred
for today's
percent.
football.
Yep,
But yeah, it was just a different era of football. So,
yep,
if you're not holding, you're not doing your job. Put it that way.
yep.
And round us out there, Bill. Who's your fifth and final guy?
Fifth and final guy, and I also have a couple honorable mentions. Keith Millard, again, probably some might say he's not really unsung. Well, 18 sacks in 89. Well, first of all, let's go back. Number one draft pick from the Vikings in 84. Played in the USFL for the Jacksonville Bulls. Come here, and I think his coming out party was 87, but most of those playoffs, him and Dolman were all over Montana. That's what made that was one help to get him out of that game because they terrorized him and all that whole defense terrorized Joe until he finally got pulled. 89 was his year, 18 sacks. UPI NFC Player of the Year and AP Defensive Player of the Year, I believe. And yes, 89. And then I believe he was second team All Pro in 87 and then 88, 89 All Pro. Then he made the Pro Bowl those years. And then he blew out his knee in 90 against Tampa at the Dome. And it was never the same. But talked about him before. He doesn't get hurt. He's a Hall of Famer. And John Randall is not a Hall of Famer, period. That's my take.
Oh shit! I got something here, guys. I just looked this up.
What?
Bob Swede's right. Holding penalties from 1960 to 1973 were 15 yards.
Yeah, that
From
makes sense.
60 from 60 to win. I didn't.
from till 73 when
You
they
know, a
moved him
Okay.
in.
penalty
When they moved
does
the
piss me
goalpost.
off, and I need to know from a history standpoint, has it always been in the league the pass interference penalty where they get the ball at the spot of the foul? I feel like it is such a cheap
No,
play.
it was a yardage penalty. It was a
I mean,
yardage penalty, but I think when they changed the whole Mel Blunt rule, I think they made it a spot foul.
hmm.
But yeah, they weren't. I mean, back in the day, they weren't calling pass interference like they are now. Now it's ridiculous. You can't even play
Yeah.
pass defense because they're going to throw the flag.
I kind of
So
like in the last couple years, though. I mean, there's still a lot of. We could do a whole debate on the show on what is a catch. You know, it seems like every year the definition of a catch actually is changing. But
it's kind of hard
I
to
like
believe.
how in the playoffs they let them kind of hand slap a little bit and they let them fight a little bit with less
The
calls.
league doesn't. The league itself doesn't know what a catch is.
That's
Yeah,
embarrassing.
Yeah,
that is embarrassing.
they can't define a catch. They can define roughing the passer and all this other BS, but they
Because it
can't
keeps coming
figure
up
out.
every year. We had the Cowboys with Des Bryant. You have last year with the Denver Broncos and the Bills. You have I could think of a couple others if I kept thinking,
You
but
know what's
it's like
funny? That happened against Green Bay, the Des Bryant catch, no catch. So
yeah.
I'm sitting there and I don't care who wins, but I'm watching that game and I'm just like, oh, that's good. That's a catch. That's
That
got to
was a
be,
catch. That's a catch.
And then for them to rob him the way they did it to Megatron too in a regular season game.
Hmm.
They robbed him. It was complete. It was a catch. It was a catch.
Anything else on
So
Keith Millard, you two?
Keith Millard.
Keith Millard?
Yeah, he's. I've said it before. Alan Page had the quickest first step I've ever seen in a defensive tackle. Keith Millard's very close. Keith's about 6'5", 270, 275. The man was just a total freak and a beast, and you didn't want to get him mad. That's really. I mean, this he played with an edge. Something I think this current Viking core as a team, both sides of the ball need to play with more of an edge.
See, if you were to give, the that defense, the Purple People Eaters and all those other Vikings greats we're talking about on defense, what would you give Brian Flores as if you could give one adjective to his defense? Because it's not brute like dog strength, you know what I mean? Like you guys talk about with these guys.
I would rather better
it's
front four.
predicated on speed. It's predicated on speed.
Shifty, speed,
It's
Yeah,
just speed.
confusion.
They're not big. Maybe
yeah, I'm
Caleb
not a
Banks
big fan
backs
of his.
that, but they're not big. It's all about speed.
Yeah,
Mm.
It's all about speed with him, especially off the edges. Other than that, I mean, if he doesn't get, here's the thing, here's the problem with Brian Flores' defense. If he doesn't get pressure from the edges, we're screwed.
yep.
We are screwed. And we're banking on Jalen Redmond to pick up the slack, but that's one guy you've got inside. One guy.
Got to have more
Yeah,
than one.
it puts a lot of
Yeah.
pressure on who? Eric Wilson, Blake Cashman, and the other
A lot of
linebackers.
pressure on your corners.
Yep.
A lot of pressure on your corners, and depending on who they have playing wide receiver, because a lot of teams take note, KLC, they don't run 10-yard, 20-yard pass routes. They're running quick slants, they're running hooks, they're running outs and ins and stuff like that. So, you know, depending on how long those defenders can hold their coverage, and they're old, the corners are older too.
Mm.
They're not young. So I mean, if you to get consistent pass rush, you need to. I would say 4-3.
We got a lot of good talk about the rules and stuff. I think we'll have to do a complete episode on some of the rule changes that
So,
really took place. That would
oh, Bill, did you
definitely.
mention that Millard was drafted in '84 and decided to sign with the USFL?
Yes, I did.
So here's the thing: Millard had played like 2 years of football. He played a full year of football in '85. So as soon as the USFL season got over, I think he had maybe a month off, and then he
Oh
was in
yeah,
training camp with the Vikings.
Yep.
And that's because
interesting.
Jacksonville was one of the teams, the Jacksonville Bulls was one of the teams that went belly up.
That's what
So
I'm saying here, T-Bass. I think Brian Flores' entire defense is based around confusion, and while you can make a successful defense based on confusion, it is a strategy, and it is successful. I just don't think it's consistent enough to where like these teams are built on brute talent up front and beefiness. Because I think there's some of those games, right, Tony, Bill, you can correct me if I'm wrong, where we're just going to get picked apart with
We got it
confusion.
last year. The bigger offensive lines had their day with
Yep.
us. One of them was Pittsburgh.
Yep. Yep.
Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh's offensive line got
Philadelphia, is Philadelphia's line still considered elite?
yeah. I mean, it's
Yes.
you.
They're big and elite.
Yeah. I mean, we're bigger. We're going to be bigger this year, especially if we go the LDR, Orange, Banks, Redmond.
But hey, we got a GM here who knows who comes from a league a team that was dedicated on their lines
You know what?
and
And
their
I'm going to hold
defense.
off after what I've heard this past week about that guy. I'm going to hold off judgment on him.
Really?
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep. I'm holding off judgment on him. He's got to do a little bit more because from if what I'm hearing is what's really going on, I'm just going to say it. Nothing's changing.
Nothing's changing. The status quo of the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep. Nothing's
The
changing.
Minnesota mediocre Vikings, Bill.
I think what's
Yeah.
going to have to happen is, and God forbid, this team's going to have to go completely belly up.
Change ownership. Change ownership.
The Wilson making too much money. They ain't giving it up.
Never gonna happen.
They're not going to be owners forever, though. They're not going to be.
Well,
I mean,
unless they keep it in the family. To keep it in
we
the
might be.
family.
Yeah, maybe, but we might be.
They
Yeah.
got their kids in it, and I believe maybe even nephews. And there's a chance it could stay in the family.
Here you
There's
go, Bill.
nephew. There's
Just for you.
kids. Some of those nephews and stuffs are already on the board.
No.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
That
Oh, I
is
misspelled
solid.
them. I misspelled them. I'm sorry. It's Childress.
Oh my god.
Hey,
I
people
misspelled them. I
know.
can't-
That's yeah. You know, that's actually Fix the spell. That's a classic.
You know?
Hey, my two honorable mentions quickly: Jim Huff and Brent Boyd. I could go on, and Keith Nord, I suppose. But
You
Jim
know
Huff.
what, Bill? We didn't mention Bobby Bryant.
I thought about doing him. I really did.
I
He
thought
was on my
here's the
list.
deal. I thought you were gonna put him on your list, so I left him off of my list.
Well, you know what? We both the other guys are Jim Huff. One him and Scott Studwell teamed up in '81 to win the arm wrestling.
Yeah, they won in 81, yeah.
But Bobby Bryant, you know what his nickname was with the Vikings when he came? Do you know what his nickname was?
No.
I didn't even know he had a nickname.
Yep, Bones.
Bones.
That's about right, because he was skinny
Yep.
as hell.
Yep, he's skinny as hell as well. But Bobby
was
Bryant,
skinny
big
as
play,
hell.
Bobby. Big play, Bobby.
Matter of fact, I remember watching games and he made a
That's
tackle.
That's true. Too.
And my mom kind of gave that scream like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, and my dad's like, "What?" Like, he's so skinny, he shouldn't be hitting anybody. He's like, if he couldn't hit, he wouldn't. My dad said if he couldn't hit, he wouldn't be out there.
Yeah, his dad's the old man's right.
It's like, oh god,
Bobby
Al Noga.
Bryant should be in the
Love
Hall of
Al
Fame.
Noga. I
Oh, I
was
love Al
a
Noga.
Noga fan.
Are you guys ready for this millennials three picks? All right,
Go
I'll show
ahead.
you who I
Let's
got.
go
ahead.
All right, my millennial picks. All right, first off, can't go a list without giving some homage to Mr. Chad Greenway. I think one of the greatest linebackers I've seen play. I think he's came from a division or where he got drafted. They played 9-man football down south, I believe. I don't know if football teams still play 9-man down there, Tony. Do they?
Oh yeah, there's 9-man teams in Minnesota. Certain Iowa
9-man
because
teams.
He's from
Yeah.
Iowa. Yeah, he plays 9-man. There's 9-man because of enrollment. They usually have a 9-man team, but yeah, there's still 9-man teams here in Minnesota.
Solid linebacker, tackling machine. I thought he was just solid. Didn't play for that long, but every time I watched him, great player.
No,
What do you
he
guys
played
think?
what, 13 years, 14 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, he retired in 16.
Yep.
Don't remember if he was a huge blitzer or huge sack guy, but I mean he was a solid. I think
He
he was
was
a
around
tackling
the-
machine.
He was
He's a good
around
tackler.
the ball a lot. He also, now remember, he got hurt his rookie year.
First
He tore
play
up
in
his-
preseason against the Raiders.
First play in preseason, he tore up his knee in the preseason opener, missed the year.
Yep.
So, but he was always, I think he had 3 or 4 interception returns for touchdowns?
Yeah, that might be all right.
Oh yeah, I think he whooped on the Giants one game. Eli, I think he just
The
took Eli to the
Giants, and then
house.
me and Bill were at the Chargers game where he went what was it, 80 or 90 yards for a
Yep.
touchdown down the sideline.
Yep.
Which after that play, that got Phillip Rivers benched. People, that got him benched. Um, but yeah, Chad, take nothing away from Chad.
Old
Um,
school player, as far as I'm
yeah,
concerned.
he
Old
was
He's a,
school
old
players,
school.
yeah, yeah, definitely rock solid. So my second guy on my list is, man, I wish we saw more running backs like this in the league. It's just the league is going away. This guy is like the Derrick Henry of the '90s, in my opinion. He's the closest thing I think to him, Tony and Bill. This guy was a monster. Leroy Horde. I mean, the guy could get you 6, 7 yards at a clip easy. He's
yep.
just a downhill guy, not fast by any means. I mean, kind of like Mike Allstott, just power guy, just in between the tackles, no flash, just gets it done.
How do you? I mean, in his most famous play, 3rd and 37 against
Yeah.
Denver.
99, 1999.
I
How
watched that play. They mistackled him like 5 or 6 times. That's a crazy bad defensive play,
If
but
I'm Denver, I'm kind of like, how do you not put 8 in the box?
Yeah.
It's 3rd and 37, and you let Horde gain, what are you, 40 some odd yards, 50 some odd yards?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a big play. It was a big play.
That turned around the game.
That turned around the game because we were getting our butts kicked.
Yep.
I remember when it happened. I'm like, this mother, no, he's not. No, no, no way. I'm like, that right there. When that defense let that happen, I was just like, God, everybody should be cut the next
But
day.
this is like just, typical. This is when I think the running back position was probably above the wide receiver position, right?
It was up
In
until
importance, yeah, but till
it
like late
was up
90s.
until the 2010s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Teams were paying top dollar. I mean, I think the last team to pay top dollar for a running back after the Vikings with AP was
Rams maybe. Rams paid Todd Gurley.
yeah, and they paid somebody else got paid too. Derrick Henry
Saquon,
was it Derrick Henry?
Derrick
Derrick
Henry,
Henry.
or Saquon maybe. I think
Saquon was
Saquon
the
got
last
paid
one to
it.
get paid. Saquon's the last one to get paid. So, but now with the way everything now, especially with your offense coordinators, they want to push the ball upfield like it's Madden.
They
That's all I
just
can say.
refuse to move the chains, Bill. They just
Yep.
don't want to keep the chains moving.
No, no,
Not the
But
Vikings.
but the
I
NFL
don't
is
know.
is promoting that too, and that's another
It's
problem.
a much less exciting game, I'll say. But I mean, it's
Well, here's what's going to happen: you're going to get any team that's going to emphasize the run, and it's going to work, and it's going to make defenses adjust because guess what? They're going to be too light on the defensive line.
100% like the Vikings.
Yeah,
Maybe not now. Maybe they drafted some big beefy boys in line, but
right. But they're gonna have to. It'll make teams go back more to that four
if you're a
three type of defense.
GM and you see the league is kind of going to this Brian Flores quick speed stuff, I mean, isn't this a dead giveaway, Bill? Like,
Well,
pick
yeah,
a player
everything.
like this, pick a player like this, and I mean, you're just going to run right into him and say, "We're better. You can't stop
Yeah,
us."
yeah, I mean, teams are still going to do it to the Vikings, and they say, "Stop us! Run up the gut! Stop us!" They can't. The Vikings under Flores have not been able to stop the run up the gut.
No.
Period.
Mm-mm. And here's
Yeah,
what's going to happen too. I mean,
And their tackling hasn't been very good either.
no. And I mean, if it's very, I mean, with today's football, some team is going to go back to actually letting the fullback run with the football too. They're going to have two people in the backfield to run the ball, which opens up play action. I mean, the NFL wants a ton of yards. They want flash plays. They want
Yep.
they want the glitz and glant and all that other stuff. But you're going to have a team that's going to be like, guess what? We're going to play old school football. Control the clock, run the
Yep.
ball, keep our defense fresh.
that's how you win in playoff time, baby.
Ball control. Ball control is
Yeah,
the biggest ally to a defense.
especially in the
Yep.
playoffs.
Yeah.
So rounding out my list, okay, I call him the garbage man. did everything that nobody wanted to do. Wasn't pretty. Caught the ball, ran the ball, blocked. Might have been the ugliest guy ever, probably running the football on the field I've ever seen.
I was gonna put him on my list.
But
Klein
this
saucer.
guy, I mean, I just think this guy is just the garbage man of these teams that kind of was able to get stuff done. I mean, they just moved him all around. Was
Yeah.
reliable, big
Yep.
guy,
Yep.
wasn't fast by any means as well. But I mean, he could get you seven,
So
8 yards.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction here.
Mm, mm.
And Bill, you'll probably be like, yeah, you're probably right. Greenway and Kleinsaucer will both be in the Ring of Honor before Gary Larson,
Oh, 100% right. 100%.
and many Roy Winston, Wally
Gary
Hilton.
Larson, Roy Winston, Wally, Sammy White.
Sammy's in there, I think.
I mean, excuse me, not Sammy. Sammy's already in there. I was thinking, anyways, Winston, Hilgenberg. You know, you could put Joe Cap. You could put
Jeff
Tommy
Seaman.
Kramer,
Jeff Seaman.
Seaman. And now Seaman, this is what I mean. Seaman's not longer with us. You know what I'm saying? And all the Wally, Roy. But you're going to put, and you're right, those two will be in before any of the old timers. Ed White included. Yes.
Yep.
You can make a case for Keith Millard to be in there too. If you're going to
Yeah,
put Joe Fatman.
he had
I mean, he makes a good point. T-Bass, like, I love the Max Bredesen pick. I think it's like so underrated and can be used so.
it's a good
See,
pick.
here's the problem with CJ Ham.
He's a big guy. He's a big kid. He's powerful, that kid.
If you can catch the ball and become some type of threat, it's great. But the problem with CJ Ham was is they either knew we were passing the
Yes.
ball because they did try to give CJ Ham some passing plays. I remember when um
He was too small.
remember when Dalvin Cook left and they thought that KOC thought that Alexander Madison could take over
Yep.
the load, and it was just a train
Yeah, it
wreck.
was a
And then they
joke.
started calling plays to like pass to CJ Ham, and we're like, what are you doing passing to a fullback in a receiving route? Like
You know
CJ,
what though?
God bless CJ Ham though, great locker room guy,
Great
leader.
locker room. Too
Yeah.
small, in my opinion.
You know what though? Here was the thing about that. The Vikings used to throw all the time to their fullbacks. Foreman was a
Yep.
fullback. Brown was a fullback. Both Brown, Bill and Ted.
Well, and here's the thing:
So
you can do that if you got a screen game. And if the Vikings had a screen game, I think that CJ Ham would have been a force. I think
Yeah.
these bigger fullbacks, can if you get one of these bigger fullbacks with three guys out in front on a pole or something, Tony. I mean, I know it's hard to get to the edge. I think in this NFL with how speedy it is, but like these guys are just going to run people over because what are these?
it's not. You
Jim
know what
Kleintasser is
though?
like 260 pounds running at you.
Here's the funny part though. If you could get guards back in the day to get to the edge, why can't you get the guards nowadays to get to the edge?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's the,
Are they lazy or is this the play design? I
it's
just don't
play
get it.
calling. It's
Play
play
calling.
design. And especially with the Vikings, you got to look at it this way. Vikings have no short passing plays. Everything is 10 yards or longer. Everything
Yep.
is past the sticks, put it that way.
But isn't that a what? How do I say this? As a play caller, you run a screen when they're basically crowding the box, and you're thinking you're gonna run, so you're gonna fake them out. You let them come up, you throw the screen, and then you're done. You got 18 yards, 20-yard gain.
Only time they crowd the box is if they know you can run.
Exactly.
That's the only time they crowd the box. You've got to show that you can run, and you got to show that you're committed to the run, which the Vikings recently, the last few years, have not done. And everybody in the league knows that.
I listened to a podcast today. It's a new one. New Viking podcast, two media members, well known, and a third guy who I have no clue who it is. Never heard of him. The guy says was it the highlight of Murray underthrowing Jefferson in practice. Jefferson catching the ball, and he's going on and on. Jefferson loves those types of catches. Blah 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 blah. What the guy didn't tell you. is how about the pass he threw to Addison that if that was a real game, Addison's head would have been taken off.
Yeah.
Yep.
What I'm saying is, and I never comment. Usually I never comment during these YouTube shows. I couldn't take it. I said, be professional here. Stop with this bias. I mean, listen, if Murray wins the job, fair and square, fine. But these media guys are not putting the head coach. Who did all this stuff to the kid? It was the head. It's the head coach. It's
Hmm.
the head coach. He's the one that did all this stuff. And this glossing over Murray. My God, what are we doing here? It's not like, and I've been following it. It's not like he's been head and shoulders every single day better than McCarthy. There have been days he's been better, but it's not like every single day. I don't know who to believe because I don't know if they're telling the
Here's the
truth.
thing. What does it
I
say
honestly don't know
about?
if I lost respect for the one guy because I have heard, and I don't know if TB might know who it is. I've heard that he's been bashing McCarthy all camp. So how do you take his word as gospel when you know he's already being biased?
Oh, you missed it today. Paul Allen got into it with I forget who the guy was, but he's a big time.
Ian Rappaport?
Yes, he got into it with Ian Rappaport.
Were they talking to each other or was he just talking about what Ian said?
They were talking. I guess they were either talking to each other or he was talking about what Ian said.
Nice. I know he's not happy with Ian. That's the last.
No, because Ian called out um, Kevin O'Connell, and he
Good.
called out the whole quarterback thing, and of
Good.
course, PA's. He knows where he gets his check,
Of
so
course.
he's naturally
Yes.
going to be on the side of the Vikings. So what
Of
I mean,
course.
and like you said, Bill, there is no bias in this damn town when it comes to him. Here's my thing about okay, so Kyler Murray is supposed to be our savior. Kyler Murray lost
He's
his
not.
job to a 37-year-old Jacoby Brissett in friggin' Arizona.
Yeah. Arizona loves that he's out of there. A
Well,
lot of
we were
people in
talking
Arizona
about.
love
I
that
mean,
he's
I
out.
know we were talking about rushing and stuff, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Vikings rushing the last 4 years has been 29th,
Yep.
23rd,
Yeah, they've improved a little bit, but
25th,
they haven't. It's not
Yep.
consistent.
25th. I mean, we've been bottom half of the league in the rushing. I mean, and I know there are other commentators who come on other channels and say the Vikings, when they do run the ball, they're pretty efficient. 12th
Yeah.
in the league or something.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you don't have an element of consistency in the run game,
Agreed.
you become
Yeah.
predictable.
Agreed.
And I mean, I do think that there are elements of KOC's offense that do work well, but it comes in a very steep price of you needing a great offensive line and you need a quarterback
Which
who
they don't have.
can wing
Which
the
they
shit
don't
out of that
have.
thing. Yeah, you need a quarterback
Which
who
they
can wing
don't
the shit
have.
out of that and read defenses. So, and I
Well,
Listen,
still
here's
when
think,
another.
Darnold
yeah.
had that great year here, the running game should have been spectacular. It wasn't.
No.
The line was not very good. I mean, his whole game plan in these long developing plays that take forever. He still hasn't gotten. The only time he slightly got away from that was a little bit last year when McCarthy just could go out and ball. That's when he was most effective.
Well, Sam Darnold throws a very good deep ball.
Yeah, he
Kirk
does.
Kirk Cousin throws a very good deep ball. Um,
You know what though? I only want to see that deep ball once or twice when you least expect it. I don't want to see it every four fucking plays.
And the old
fair.
school smash mouth football is gone, for at least obviously from the Vikings point of
I
view.
mean, here's my take. I think the league has really figured out KOC's offense completely.
Yes. Yes.
Well, yeah,
Completely.
that's
And
yes.
and and that's where you're in a dangerous spot because your offense is successful, but they can easily scheme for it on the defensive
Yep.
side of the ball. I mean, uh, I
The
just
team
don't. I
that the
mean,
team that should have had, if you really wanted to shut down KOC's offense, everybody should have looked at that playoff game against the Rams. The Rams did it
Yeah.
right.
100%.
That was the blueprint to shutting down
I
Kevin
mean, it.
O'Connell's
What's
offense.
crazy about that Rams game is like we didn't even look like we belong on the field, man. It was that bad.
They
It
were
was bad
three.
offensively and
Every play was
defensively.
3 and out. They couldn't sustain a drive.
But
Every 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And you with a coach like McVay, he's going to know how to take advantage of that.
I read a report, Bill, that if training camp keeps going the way it is, McCarthy might be three and Wentz might be two.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yes.
I called that.
Yeah, I heard that
I
too.
called that. I said, I guarantee, and this is what I've also heard. Um, if they can't move him, he will be opening day the emergency quarterback number 3.
That's possible. TB, what was the famous quote from our head coach about young quarterbacks again?
Oh yeah.
Well, uh, young quarterbacks don't let down organizations. Organizations let down young quarterbacks.
Isn't that going to bite him in the you know what?
No, because when you got
To
hacks
me,
like
that's
Paul
just, that. To
Brown,
me, that's a fireable offense.
but
Sorry.
yeah, if you had a real fucking organization, I'm losing it here. If you had a real damn front office, his ass would have been. He wouldn't have been hired.
No, I
He
agree.
would not have even had the job. You've
I
got
wanted
Jim
D'Amico
Harbaugh in
Ryan
the building.
when Harbaugh didn't get it.
You've got Jim Harbaugh in the building, and
Yeah, no,
you let
no,
him walk.
God.
They did
I
let him
mean, it was
walk.
so bad that they wanted to interview D'Amico and they wanted to interview Raheem, and both of them said, "No, we're not going to appease the Rooney Rule for you."
D'Amico, I would have take way over this guy. No,
Right?
that's not even close.
They weren't going to do it. And here's the thing: here's
Do you
the
think he'll watch this?
Vikings.
Do you think he'd be pissed if he's seen this?
Who
He
cares?
might just be a little, yeah. Yeah.
Should have put Diana Rossini in there somewhere, but
Oh,
I mean, if you've got to be, and you got to be thick-skinned too. You're going to get criticism. So I
yes,
mean,
100%. Denny
you
Green
know,
got criticized all the time, people.
yeah.
And Denny Green and the head coach now are kind of similar with the playoff non-success. But the big difference is, everyone, the media and the fans wanted Denny out of here after they lost to the Bears. And now with our current head coach, that's not the case.
And put it this way, Denny, his first
Unreal.
4 years here, had already won the division twice and had been to the
Yep.
playoffs 3 straight times. We can't even get that out of Kevin O'Connell. When we needed him to win the division, he folded like a cheap suit in Detroit.
Yeah, they got the best record in the NFC,
Yep.
number one seed. And you win one home playoff game. That first, if you're the number one seed, you win a playoff game. First playoff game, you're in the NFC Championship.
I mean, I'm just gonna say it like this:
Unreal, unreal.
you have no business. You have no business losing to the Giants at home. You have no business losing to the Giants that game. By all accounts,
Oh, that playoff
by
game, yeah,
all
100%.
accounts, by all
Here's the,
accounts, Daniel
here's,
Jones should be calling Kevin O'Connell saying thank you for the contract.
No, Donatelli.
Well, yeah, but
here's the thing,
he's
though.
still his
Why is
hire. But
nobody?
Yeah,
Here's the
you're
thing.
right.
Why is anybody not surprised? That friggin' team won 13 games, but they gave up more points than they scored.
Yeah, they
yeah,
were
that's
lucky
crazy.
Who the hell wins 13 games and you're outscored by your opponent? And that defense was, excuse my language, that defense was dog shit.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, but remember, TB,
Defense was dog shit.
4th and 7, minivan throws about a 4 or 5 yard pass.
And why does he throw? And why does he throw it to Hawkinson?
He
Why?
throws the Hawk, one of the slowest guys on the team. Minivan is Cousins, by the way. Minivan throws
No.
him.
The Pizza Ranch spokesman. But
Well,
anyway,
and
so okay, where I'm going back with this, Tony, is okay. You lose to a team you shouldn't lose to. It doesn't matter. You can outscore the fucking New York Giants with Daniel Jones. That's
Well, yes,
you should
100%.
be able to put what they
Yes.
not
scored
when you
like
go
wasn't it
for
like
it. You know what though?
20,
You know what
yeah.
though, Dan? Not when you go for it on 4th and 2 and you decide to run a friggin' play. You pitch it out to Jefferson, but you're going to throw it back to Cousins on 4th and 2.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was really bad. Okay, so you look at that. That's a season's a disaster. You look at the Sam Darnold season too. That season, I mean, we have so many takeaways. We have so many takeaways.
Yeah, but
So
can
we're
I
probably
say
not
one
gonna.
thing?
Yeah,
One thing. The season before, Darnold against Cincinnati, and I know that we can talk about the Bronco one. Cincinnati. What was it? Brandon Powell on third and fourth in inches. They ran Brandon Powell into the meat of the
Oh, and Nick
line.
Mullins. They tried to do the
Nick,
fucking tush push with
yeah,
Yes. Well,
with.
Brandon Powell. Yes, Brandon
I
Powell
mean,
pushes Brandon Powell, who's like what, 5'9", 5'8", 5'10".
and
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 then what
also,
was it against the
who are they
Broncos?
running behind? Who are they running behind? Garrett Bradbury.
Yes.
it's
You're
true.
not gonna get
But
anything
so
running behind
what
Bradbury.
I'm getting at is I just I how do I say this in the nicest way possible? Go be a great coordinator. Go be a great coordinator. He probably would be a great coordinator somewhere, Tony. Just don't be a head coach. I just think it's passionate enough. I mean, maybe everybody shows it differently, but I just don't see him. I never see any
Here's the thing.
expression out of
This
this
is where
man
the
to where he
Vikings.
really wants to win a Super Bowl.
This
He's
is
like
where
the
the
guy
Vikings.
who
This is where the Wilf screwed up. Okay. Both times they decide to hire an offensive
Oh
guy,
boy, yeah, I know what he's gonna
they
say.
hire an offensive guy who never called plays on their old team.
Yeah, he's right.
They did it with Childress, and they did it again with Kevin O'Connell. Neither one of those guys called plays, and Kevin O'Connell never called plays, period,
No, he
in the
did.
NFL. All the years he's
well,
been in the NFL, he
I
never
mean,
called plays.
go be a coordinator somewhere else is what I'm saying, Nick. I mean,
Well, yeah, but
what
here's the thing: when you've got an organization who, and let's face it, Kevin
You
O'Connell was
can't
brought
have
up
a
here
head
to
coaching
find.
job in 5
He was
seconds.
brought up here to find the next franchise QB, and
Yep.
he's
didn't do it.
failed.
That's on my
He didn't
list.
do
Didn't do
it.
it. Didn't do
So
it.
guess what? I mean, what you're going to have to do, and I know the Wilfs don't want to do this, but they're going to have to do it. They got to blow this thing up.
No, it's not gonna. I agree with you.
If they really want a Super Bowl, but that's the $1 million question.
TB,
Whether
we
they
all
do
know. TB and I have talked about. They're never. They're probably. They want fannies in the seats. They never. They don't want to be. It's like Leopold of the Wild. Don't want to blow it up because you need fannies in the seats. You don't want empty arenas or empty stadiums.
it's
Yeah,
just
but here's the
Minnesota
thing.
mediocre at its best.
what I think is
Here's
crazy though is this man Tony can sit here and just stand in front of the podium and be like, "Yeah, we really are competing." You know what I mean? He can say that. Maybe he is trying, but
You
like
can
you're
say
not.
that
You're
because
yeah,
he has nobody pushing back on him.
yeah.
That's why he can say it.
Yep.
If you get somebody pushing back on him, he might change his tune, but he knows that he's got, and they pick and choose who can ask questions.
Yeah.
It's already predetermined. I mean, they're not going to get the hard questions, and he's not going to have
Not
to answer
anymore.
the hard
No.
questions.
I hope I'm wrong though. Maybe we're
Remember
proved wrong
the
this season.
the Vikings. TB and I have talked about this when it happened after Bozo left the clown Zimmer because he didn't say good. And this is true. People say this is a joke. No, you didn't.
No,
He
it's
never
true.
said good morning, good afternoon, good night when we'd see him in the hallway. Thielen, Kendricks, those guys were whining about that. So they wanted a more
O'Neal was whining
kumbaya.
about it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
O'Neal was whining
Kumbaya.
about it.
Kumbaya. So now they got the kumbaya. Everything's got to be kumbaya. You don't want no feelings hurt. That's wrong.
I Matt, they're the hardest team in the league to root for. I'll stand behind this. If I'm a Browns fan, I just like football, even though I know my team's going to lose. The reason why they think the Vikings are such a hard team to root for is like they mess with your reality. Every once in a while, they'll get to a championship game and like give you this weird hope, like we're gonna like go to a Super Bowl. I mean, at least you guys got to
It's
experience them going to the Super Bowl.
it's the
I don't
50th
know what that's like.
anniversary. People, come on, man.
Here's the thing. Like I said before, the Minnesota Vikings are their own worst enemy.
Yep.
They don't need any outsiders to do anything. They don't need anybody to come in and screw it up. They will do it on their own.
Yeah. I mean, he's right.
They will do it on their own. They don't outsider comes in, we'll top that. Watch this. They will.
Does the league need a team like the Minnesota Vikings just for to get in their own way?
Well, you've got other teams that do it too, but Minnesota does it on a regular.
I think there's other teams that do it too. Like
Listen.
one team that comes to my mind, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think do it a lot. I think,
Yeah, but the Steelers got 6 Super Bowls.
yeah, I know. That's
Yeah,
what
you
that's
They can
can't-
do
that makes
whatever
me
the hell.
cry.
Here's the thing.
That makes me cry. That
The
makes me cry.
Steelers can do whatever the hell they want. They got 6 damn trophies in their trophy case. So if I
It,
okay, if I'm a Steeler fan at this age and I saw them win those Super Bowls, I don't care what they do from now on.
that's right.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
I could
50
care less.
years. 50 years this year since the last time. This is the 50-year anniversary since the last team to go to the Super Bowl. 50 years. TB and I were 9, almost 10.
Hey,
I,
we
w-
turned 10 in the middle of the season.
I
Yes.
was I was just I was a twinkle in somebody's eye.
You were twinkling.
I was giving a little wink. I was a little
I
twinkle.
mean, we were put it this way. 76, I big into Kiss, big into the Vikings. Um
What's up, Dell? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for
was
popping in.
big into football, collecting football cards and everything. The Vikings
Yeah,
were my team, but guess what? There was that hope that they were going to get to the Super Bowl after what happened in 75, and they did.
that's right. And they did.
And they did.
Okay, before we leave, one last question. Okay, we're a little over. Who gets the Super Bowl first? The Minnesota Vikings or the Buffalo Bills?
They'll play each other and it'll end up in a tie.
Okay, that might be the worst thing. Wait, a Super Bowl can't win in a tie, can it?
No,
You
somebody's
know
got to
what?
win it.
I think
Yeah.
Buffalo will, and they'll lose again.
You think Buffalo will get to the Super Bowl and lose it?
Yep.
That'd be kind of
I,
fitting for Josh
the
Allen, though, huh?
Vikings are Vikings unless something. No, listen. Every year, do we want them? People misunderstand. I think maybe all of us that criticize the team. It's because, well, for one thing, guys like Tony, we've been through this for how many years? So I think everybody has a right. Nobody's above criticism, right? So
Yeah.
True, true.
show me, get back. If listen, if they go back and win it, I'll be the happy. I can die in peace, maybe, huh?
Well, the current Viking fans, they accept mediocre.
Okay,
That's the
let me ask
problem.
you this:
That's the problem.
If the Vikings win a Super Bowl, do you give like KOC a lifetime coaching deal?
I don't care. I'm out. They win a Super Bowl. I'm retired as a fan. I saw my team win a Super Bowl. I can die happy.
Yeah,
I don't care what you do after that, but you got to win one first.
you got to win one. Where's the Super Bowl this year? Does anybody know?
LA.
Oh, it's in LA.
I think it's in LA, yeah.
Hmm.
That's the whole thing. It's you've got to they've got to get there and they've got to show that they want to get there. This whole making the playoffs BS has got to stop. You've got to stop that thinking.
So what do we do
Um,
then? So we say when people say, other podcasts or we go on streams and people argue that KOC has a great winning percentage and that matters above everything. Do we say who gives a
Uh,
crap? They're two different seasons.
well,
The playoff is a different season.
he's an even year coach.
he's an even year coach.
So far, even
That's
so
even
far, his
worse.
coach they've made the playoffs in even years. There's no consistency.
That's the
Just
whole
That's
like
thing.
fine.
Zimmer, no consistency.
Yeah, it's just
He
we
was odd.
can't.
Yeah, this is
We're
true.
not
This is true.
consistent. Everything on off, on off, on off, off
Yep.
on, off on. That's you say what you want about Bud. Every year
That's
though,
right.
we were consistent. You say what you
Right.
want about Denny Green. Every year he was
Yep.
consistent. We
Yep.
haven't had consistency honestly since Denny Green.
Correct.
We haven't had that. You
They
know what?
haven't made the playoffs back-to-back years since '08 and '09.
We haven't had consistency since the Wilfs bought the team.
Yeah,
That's not saying much
I agree
for.
with that statement.
Well, you know
We
what's crazy
haven't
too?
had consistency since the Wilfs bought the team.
I mean, maybe it's just good PR, right? Because I remember, what was it? Was it 2 days ago, Bill? I think I remember on the podium, one of the Wilfs got up there and was like,
Mark,
"We are
Yeah,
so
Mark,
happy. We are so impressed with the leadership of the team." It's like, how can you sit there with a straight face and sit there and say you're impressed with the leadership when, like, it's not good enough? It's not good enough,
no, it's not.
Tony. It's
No,
not good enough.
he
You
raises the
gotta
ticket
tell
price.
me.
So that's good.
I was screaming it from the rafters, and everybody told me I'm not a fan. So
No.
you
We
know,
do we do love the Vikings though. As much as we bitch,
Well, of
as much as we're
course.
talking, we're appreciators of the game. We love the Vikings. They do break
Hey,
our
you know what it's
hearts. I
like?
mean,
I'm going to say this. I'm going to not go with a baseball analogy. This is the fan base of does all four major sports teams in this town. The Twins sell the farm, get rid of everybody last year. Didn't go far enough, and they should have traded Joe Ryan. This year, because of the fans revolting, they make three trades, in my opinion, that should have never been made. It's not helping them. Was never going to help them. But they only did it when you do business to appease the fans, only to appease them. It's not going to work. Period. You got
That's
to
true.
run the
When you're
I
business
mean,
correctly.
here's the thing:
if
when you're reactionary, it never
Yes.
works.
that's
Thank you.
true. That's true. But see, look what Jared says here. If Frank Smith's our only shot, we win a ton of games if KOC runs the ball. I agree.
Yeah.
But
I
what's
hope that happens.
KOC's out then? Can't Frank Smith be like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
Them two are
I
gonna
mean, how
come to
can he?
blows.
You think they're going to come to blows? That was my
Oh
question.
God,
Because
yes,
what are they going to look at
yes.
Frank Smith and be like, "Hey, Frank, you know, everywhere you go, you're a big run guy, and your run teams have been successful, but all of a sudden, Minnesota, they're not. Why? Oh, well, what can KOC say? You know, I'll just throw this
Yeah.
guy. Maybe
KLC. Here's the thing: they'll put together a game plan, right? KLC has it in his willpower and his right, since he calls the plays during the game, to change play calls at any time. So they might call a run, maybe second and short. KLC is going to be like, no, I'm going to surprise them with a 20-yard bomb.
he's the assistant head coach, though, right?
Yes.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
If you're
KLC is the guy.
if you're still assistant head coach, I mean, if you believe in what you do and have integrity, I mean, do you have to go along to get along in this league, Tony? I'm just saying, like,
Yes,
you know what
you
I mean? If you
do.
knew something was good, yeah, that's what's crappy. Because
Yes,
I'd be
you
like,
do. And first
I
of
want you to
all,
be like,
here
you're
it is with
wrong.
the Vikings too.
I
Because
would just
guess
say
what?
straight up, you're wrong.
Frank Smith is the odd man out because now not only do you have KOC calling the Wilfs, you've got Teasley calling the Wilfs. So
That's
guess
right.
what? If anything goes wrong with this team, them two narcs are going to be on the phone calling the Wilfs, who never come to Minnesota except for games and to make a couple of pressers for training camp. They're absentee owners. And so guess what? Frank Smith is odd man out. Is odd man out. Remember, this is still, you got Frank Smith up here, but guess what? This is still Kevin O'Connell's team, folks. Kevin O'Connell makes the decisions, the personnel decisions, the play decisions, how they're going to do things. It's all about Kevin
Where are we
O'Connell.
at? Where are we at? 4. So this year, what we're gonna do this, Bill? This year we're gonna do this many years without a playoff win, and
Yep.
then we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this.
Well, I honestly, I know the media. They're saying he's safe. I am not convinced. I still think if they have a rough year, maybe it won't be this year, but he's going to be on thin ice.
He's got to have a
He's
rough year. And I mean, when I say rough year, he's got to be
6-11,
6
and
and
just
11 or
bad
worse.
and bad,
6 and 11 or worse. The schedule's not going to
and
allow him to be that bad.
no major injuries because he can have that to fall back on. So if the team stays relatively healthy, I'll say this: if Murray becomes a disaster, that will hurt him big time because the team
It'll
probably
hurt.
won't be as good.
If Murray's a disaster, that would be my reason to get rid of him in the first place because he had to have him.
Correct. No, I agree, but
That's a
this,
fireable offense right there. If Murray comes up here and sucks, which is a distinct possibility, folks. The one thing that KLC was brought up here to do was stabilize the quarterback position, and he's made
and
it
has not
worse.
done. He's made it worse.
He's
100%.
made it worse.
Well, we're all tired. We all gave our unsung Vikings opinions, and then we gave our opinions about
The current
how
squad.
how we're really feeling about the current squad. I guess it can only go up. Maybe we'll all be surprised. Hopefully, we are. I
Oh,
know we're
listen,
all
it's the
excited.
even year. It's the
I
even
would
year.
love to be pleasantly surprised, but guess what? This is the Vikings. We've seen
I have
this
him 7 and
before.
10. So I have him 7 and 10. That's not going to change.
9-8, 9-8, no playoffs. 9-8, no playoffs.
9-8 probably gets you fourth in the division.
Yeah.
No, I don't think the Packers are going to win 7 games. I think the Packers
Oh,
are
the
in
Packers are going
big
to be.
trouble.
That
They're
Packers
in
will be
big
better than the
trouble.
Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
You think
Packers
they'll
are
be
worse.
They
better?
got a better coach. They got a better coach. He's a better coach.
LaFleur
I don't
is?
care for the guy. Huh?
LaFleur is?
He's better than what we have.
That ain't
I
saying
think
much.
he's
No,
a
I
better
know, I
play.
understand that, but
He's
he's
a
still
better play.
better.
He might be a better play caller, but
I don't think he's. I think
Bill?
his problem is playoffs. He
You know what,
chokes.
Bill? That bar is so low when it comes
I know,
to
but
coaches.
that's what
My
it is.
God. If
it
this was,
was a
if you
no-brainer, Jared. I do think it was like the best possible saving thing that could have happened to him.
Oh,
If
of
you're going to give a
course.
Hail Mary for this guy, but I mean, it's going to come back to like this literally another revolving door of Vikings
Yeah, and I'm
quarterbacks
Here's the
tired.
that
thing.
we
I'm
can't
tired.
figure it out.
I
Here's the
got to
thing.
get going, guys. I got to head out.
Kyler
Hey,
Murray's getting
take
two
care, Bill.
checks this year.
All right.
So, all right, Bill.
Well, we're going to wrap up, you guys. Appreciate you guys sticking with us. Always a pleasure to anybody. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe. We'll see you back next week on Thursday. Great show. Appreciate you guys. Skol Vikings. Bill, Tony, appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Dan. Take care, everyone.
That's what I wanted to do last night.